Welcome to Reptile Fight Club. I'm Justin Julander, and with me, as always, is Chuck. What's up?
Oh, hey, Justin. How are you?
You didn't see me there, did you?
No. You just creeped in. You're so stealthy. You're so stealthy.
What is up, man?
Not much. Things are good.
Good.
How about you?
No crazy work schedules?
No, work's been quiet.
Nice.
Very quiet.
Nice.
Yeah. Been treating me right for a change.
Oh, that is good. I'm getting very close to my trip to Costa Rica. So, you go.
Have you ever been to Costa Rica?
I have not. I have not been to Central America, unless you're counting Mexico as Central America. I guess I kind of count that as North America, but
yeah.
So we're getting down into the heart of Central America. We're almost down to Panama, so can't get much more further south. And you've been to Panama, right?
I have been to Panama. I have been to Panama, Peru, Chile, Costa Rica, Cartagena. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Been down that way.
Yeah, you've traveled much more extensively than I have in South and Central America.
I love it down there.
It's
cool. The best. Yeah, it's just.
What do you like about it? Like, what's?
I just like the culture, the history, like the nightlife is fun. Like I had a good time. I mean, all the beaches are beautiful. Like it's just I don't know. know.
I'm very excited, but I'm a little. What I don't like about Costa Rica is they charge per person for everything. So like I'm taking a group of my family, so I've got 5 or 6 people. Jake's not going, but everybody else is. And then I've got my parents that are going. And so it's like if we want to do any tour, it's like $50 a piece. So I've got to pay $250. They don't have like group rates or anything like that. Even some of the hotel rooms are like, $20 per person per night. I'm like, gosh dang it. So that means like I can get an Airbnb for that much per night and have the whole thing. We don't have to share, and it's not just one room. It's the whole, there's a kitchen and all that kind of stuff. So I'm a little like, I'm going to lose my shirt on this trip, but it should be good. I just need to not think about it too much because I'm kind of a penny pincher anyway. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we were there, I watched a group of taxi drivers rob a couple of guys from the boat.
Oh, wow.
So don't literally lose your shirt and don't take valuable.
Yeah.
Don't go flashing your expensive stuff in Costa Rica was the lesson that I learned. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Like it was like 5 cabbies. They all just like stopped. These guys were in a cab. They all stopped. The cabbies robbed them and took off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I won't have much to rob, I guess. That's the good news.
There you go. You'd be like, no, the hotel
here you go.
All my money.
My $40. Good job. Yeah.
Like, you see how many people I'm with? You know how they charge around here? You picked the wrong people. Go find that guy by himself. He's got extra cash.
Yeah. But we're going to be down in the Osa Peninsula, which is exciting. Although you can't go into Corcovado National Park without a guide. Like, you have to have somebody take you into the park. You can't just pay the entrance fee and go inside. So that's kind of different than I'm used to, I guess. And but we are going to be staying in some pretty cool places kind of close to the forest. So we should be able to do some hikes in primary forest or, at least get in there somehow. So should be good. Yeah.
You'll be okay, man. Tourism has its price, right? Like they know how to. They gotta do their tourism for themselves.
Ashley sent me the photo of the most beautiful eyelash viper, just this bright yellow eyelash viper that she found. So I'm excited. Hopefully we'll see some of that good stuff, some of the good herbs down there. She just today she sent me a picture of a basilisk that's in her bathroom or something, or in the kitchen or something. What? Just hanging out on the wall up in the, it's this big male brown basilisk. Looks pretty cool. So I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool. And then she found some kind of vine snake eating a lizard, like on the side of the road, So she's in some good area for herps, and hopefully the time of year won't ruin it too much. I mean, I'm sure we'll see something, but I think it's not the best time of year to go over. But we're not going necessarily on a herp trip, but we will be doing a guided tour, kind of evening and night that just kind of focuses on finding animals. So hopefully I can kind of see, learn from them how to herp out there, and then kind of do my own thing, in different areas or something. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Sneaking, Justin goes sneaking off in the dead of night.
Yeah. What I am worried about is I don't speak Spanish. I wish I spoke Spanish. So
yeah,
I'm not sure how we're going to get along.
Yeah, that is such a clutch thing
Do you
to
speak
have
Spanish?
Somebody with you.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But
you had,
I got. Yeah, we always had. I had somebody with me who totally spoke Spanish, and it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
It makes a world of difference.
Oh yeah, on that trip to Mexico, my buddy's fluent, so I just point at him if somebody asks me questions like "No habla," check with this dude.
Yeah, and I mean it's cool. Like I like to. I mean, I don't speak very good Spanish. I try to speak as much Spanish as I can, but like, communicating reasonably in a foreign country, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Not there yet. Well, I'm an idiot, dude. In like middle school and high school, I took French. I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, why did I take French? Like,
well, French and Spanish are pretty close, aren't they? Like, they're same kind of root, but...
Yeah, but
more difficult.
I could have just taken Spanish, which.
Well, I took German, and I lived in Germany, so that helped out. But
at least that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I never went to go live in France, so it just seems kind of dumb in hindsight.
We're going there next year. You can come be our interpreter. I've got a meeting in France next year, so no. But my girls.
I don't know if I'd be good. I would just use the word bourgeois a lot, and that's not even. I don't even know why. I just.
My daughters are fluent in my two youngest daughters are fluent in Portuguese, so you would think that would come in more handy with Spanish. Like, it'd be close enough, but they don't understand.
Yeah, so they should talk to my grandfather, who's he's fluent in Portuguese.
Oh, cool.
So.
Yeah, my youngest is pretty bold with using her Portuguese. If she ever hears it, she'll just go right up and start talking to whoever. But,
talking to somebody,
Grace is not so.
Well, it's but it's one of those things where, like, if you find somebody who speaks Portuguese, you got to go up and talk to them, right? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
I do to German speakers in, like, national parks and stuff. It's about the only place you run into them is, like, in Zion or somewhere in a national park. You'll see German tourists.
Justin just goes.
Yeah.
He just walks out. Pardon me, but all in German.
Yeah, with a bad English accent or something, the American accent. Well, anything exciting going on in your herp world? I started pairing stuff up, so we'll see.
Nice.
Yes, at least the stuff I really want to produce this year. So I've got one project. I won't mention it because I don't want to jinx it, but hopefully I get some eggs out of that certain project.
I think I know said project.
My most anticipated pairings for the year, so
that would be huge.
That'd be good, yeah. And it's starting to get cold here. It snowed on us, so we're getting some. I'm excited to leave the country and get down into some tropical areas. It's been it snowed today, and I was kind of fortunate because I walked over to Heidi's office to eat lunch. And it was sprinkling a little bit, a little bit of rain. And then I get to her office, and everybody's staring out the window, and like the wind is blowing sideways, and there's snowflakes coming down, and like people are walking and getting blown around, and it's covered with snow or whatever. So crazy, it's northern.
It was upper 80s. It was upper 80s earlier this week, man.
Yeah. Oh man!
It's like, what is going on? Yeah, that's how it is. Like, it's not uncommon for it to be really warm on Halloween here. So,
yeah,
I like every year I'm like, why is it still so warm? And I'm like, oh yeah,
I live next to Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, and it's usually not until like it usually starts to cool off, around October timeframe. But we usually have at least one or two kind of heat events in that month where it's like, oh yeah. I forget every year. Yeah. It's not until November and December do we really cool off.
Well, and that's the thing about up here too is it could snow one day and it could be low 80s the next day. It just depends.
Yeah.
And it snowed on Halloween before here. That's not uncommon for here either to have a little bit of snow. So
yeah, snow on Halloween here would be extremely weird.
I can imagine. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fun.
I'd be wanting some of my money back.
Yeah, you do pay a premium to live where it's warm all year.
Stupid, dude. It's getting bad. It's getting
Tell me about it all. Everybody's fleeing your state into my state.
Yeah. Well, you can keep them.
Yeah, I think we probably will have no choice about that, and all our property taxes will rise, and it's all fun. All fun and games till somebody's taxes go up.
Yeah. The Californians would be like, "Well, you're so lucky to have us."
On Heidi and my trip to Yellowstone, we saw a car that had California plates and a message on the window that said, "We're not from California. This is a rental. Please stop harassing us," kind of thing. Like,
people throwing milkshakes and shit at your car.
Put a note in your window so people will stop harassing you. Nah, it's not a good time to be from California, apparently.
Yeah,
at least in Wyoming or Montana.
My cousin moved up to Portland years back, and for a while he was sending me disparaging messages with pictures of people with giant Chargers stickers on the back of their car. Yeah, so it's kind of the same vein, but yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's just one of those wind down times. I've got pictures of my inlands. I just need to get them up for sale. I've got and start alerting the list that they're up and available, and I guess it's a race to see who wants them bad enough, I guess. But we'll see if everybody who is so interested, disappears, or if they actually sell and they're moved out. But I think I've identified my holdbacks. I think I have a couple that I really want to hang on to. So, and I need a couple males.
Real red or
no, not really red. More, I like that blue gray color, but maybe. I don't know. I that's the hard thing too, is I
thought you had told me. Wait a minute. Because I swear that we had this conversation that you were kind of trying to breed more red into your inlands, and because I thought I had. I don't know. Maybe am I tripping? Am I crazy?
Tripping, man. I don't know. I mean, mine might have a little bit of red, but not a ton. Like, I don't know. There's other projects with red. Well, I produce hypobrettles. So I've got some hypobrettles that are looking pretty nice. They're
nice.
So I'll be putting those up for sale too once I get them. They hatched out a little later than the inlands, and still working on getting them to have 5 meals and feeding reliably. I still have a like 2 or 3 holdout males that just won't eat on their own. I've been feeding them or helping them
of the bredli,
the inlands, but everybody else is eating readily and reliably. So I also have a couple jungles too that are starting to color up. I've got one really crazy, like pinstripey zebra looking thing that's pretty sweet looking. So the male was like a stripe line animal, and I'm keeping that one too. So I've got a
nice,
weird, patchy, like got some irregular blotching on it. So yeah, good stuff. It's fun to hang on to stuff to see how it colors up and stuff. But I'm just like, I need the room, so I got to move some stuff as well. Can't keep 20 carpets.
No, dude, and that's the worst. That is like the worst part, man. man. I swear. It's like
I hate selling. Like
I know. Well,
and that's the thing that
and you're like, I can't let this go. Ooh, I can't let that go. And then you're like, oh my god, I can't keep all this. Like, what am I doing, dude?
Exactly.
Like, it like gets out of hand so fast, and then you're like, and then it's like one like just coastals or like just you know you're like, oh my god, this is just one one species or whatever. And I'm like, I got other plans going on here, and I'm like gonna be overwhelmed. I don't even I think McIntyre's a freaking maniac. Like I don't know how he does it, dude. Like
right,
I would be completely overwhelmed if I was that guy.
Yeah. I just hold on to way too many things, but I don't know. It's hard to let them go sometimes, but I don't know. I really like the stuff I keep, so I don't mind seeing it stay around for a little while. But once it starts to get too large for the enclosures, then it's like, well, now it's got to move, or I guess I have some larger enclosures that I can put in.
I guess I will say on the other side of that, holding on to nice stuff, if you do need to get rid of it, is probably easier than holding on to everything and trying to get rid of it later. You know what I mean? So,
but you usually don't get very good much out of an older animal, even though you probably should. It's like you raise it up for a few years, it colors up all crazy nice, and then I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? I'm not the best businessman, so I guess people can take advantage of me and get some really nice animals for a good deal. But
yeah, I definitely don't do it for the money.
Yeah. Oh, good times. You ready to fight? We have anything else to chat about? Oh, what was it? I was going to mention something. No, that's probably it. I don't know.
Buy the book?
Yeah, you can buy a book if you want.
A book?
Yep, a book. There's been some good books released lately. Scott and Ty Ipers. I need to pick up a copy of that. I should probably contact them. I'd like to get a copy of that, even though I don't keep elapids. That's the only thing where it's like I'm not going to keep them, but it would be fun to learn about them. But I need to do that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I sent off. Nick's sending the copy to Scott, so he should get a copy of the book through Nick, and we just kind of divided up the free copies because we didn't get the chance to have a case shipped over to Australia, so we had to ship them from us, and it's expensive to ship the books over to Australia. Luckily, some of the guys that are getting free books were nice enough to ship a few copies on, so I could ship 4 at a time.
That's cool.
The flat rate. So really nice of those guys. Matt Somerville. I mean, he's just a stand-up dude. So I really want to herp with that guy. He's the master herper.
Yeah, dude. That's like
one of these.
That's like getting to party with Tom Selleck. Hell yeah, man.
Wow. All right. Well, let's fight. So this is a suggestion that was suggested by an Australian guy named Cam Candy, and Cam works at a zoo, right? And he was giving somebody kind of a behind-the-scenes tour or something like that, and he got out a bearded dragon for him to kind of check out or whatever. And the person touring was like, "Oh, that's gross. That's much uglier than mine. Mine's, beautiful, this color or that color." And he
get that bitch ass bearded dragon out of here.
So he thinks that maybe it was like one of those reduced. What are they called? Like the silkies, or not the silky, but what's the het form of silky? Like the leatherback or something, like whatever.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy.
I don't know those bearded dragon morphs either.
I
haven't done bearded morphs haven't done bearded dragons for a very long time. But so they didn't want to see a wild type because they kept a morph. So that's kind of the impetus for this discussion: is do morphs detract from people's appreciation of reptiles, or do they add to it? Yeah. So, an interesting topic for sure. Let's go ahead and flip a coin. You ready? Think you're going to get it this time? I don't know.
I've
been kicking your trash this
That's tails.
It's heads again. Oh!
You suck.
Man, I'm just. It's back to me again. I guess you had a good streak there for a while. That was pretty entertaining, but that has ended.
Yep, one can always tell when Justin's winning because he's rubbing it the fuck in.
Hey, you got to take a win when you can, I guess.
I guess,
hey,
yeah.
I will say you rubbed it in a bit.
You're right. No,
okay.
I was just about to own my own shit. I was getting there. Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
Okay,
you're
well,
right. I deserve it.
Just because I'm a good winner, I'll take the morphs. Morphs enhance our appreciation of reptiles.
Oh my god!
So yeah.
All right.
Well, but I'm going to let you go first because I'm a gentleman.
I don't know why anybody thinks that morphs enhance anything. I think they're, they're like the shiny thing that distract, like a car wreck. They're like a car wreck that you see while you're driving down the road that takes your eye off of what you're doing, driving the car, and then you crash into the person in front of you. I think that's a good analogy for how I feel about morphs.
Wow.
I think anybody who's been, I think the Podfather kind of comes to mind as somebody who, was very, very into morphs. And, morphs are like, some of them are cool looking. But the flashiness takes away from, people's appreciation of the natural history and the, some of the behaviors of the animal because they're solely focused on a cool paint job. And I think again you just go back to carpets, and I don't know how many times we got to say this, but there is just plenty of examples of very, very finely bred, wild type animals that just kill any kind of a morph. And it's like, how many times do you need to see a freaking white snake of a different species, or an albino snake of a different species, or melanistic or a hypomelanistic? To me, it's kind of like all the same crap in a different species. And it's like, oh, we're going to go through this whole thing again where it's just like, oh, it's worth so much money because this new mutation came out. No, it's not a new mutation. It's just a mutation that's found its way into another species, just like the other. Go. If morphs are your thing, keep ball pythons then, where they've really unlocked the genome and they're doing all these combinations. But leave carpets alone. Can't carpet morphs just die on the vine? Anyway,
all right.
I digress. Back to you.
Well,
in the studio.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
I've started to. I just didn't want to let it all go at once.
I know. I don't think our listeners could handle it all at once.
I'm sure some people's heads are exploding right now.
For the old man with the kids on his lawn, I guess. I would say, okay, so if you're given the choice of keeping a bright yellow and black jungle carpet or brown and beige, fresh out of the wild, imported wild caught snake, I think most people are going to take that flashy, beautiful snake. And, say they both came out of the wild. You could find one that was, I would say that is a morph to some extent, right? Whether it's a simple genetic trait or whether it's been line bred or whether it's has an adaptive advantage or something. People are going to take the thing that they like to look at, right? And so I think that kind of applies to a lot of morphs, is they want to see something different. They want to see something new. Now, I would say that there is a difference between the morph pyramid scheme game type aspect of it and just a nice morph. I think some morphs are maybe more subtle. You look at some and you're like, that just looks like a wild type. That doesn't look anything, like a yellow belly ball python or or some of these more subtle morphs that may, like a super form is white, but the het form is, or the incomplete dominant form is like, it just looks a little bit different than the normal. So I guess if you're just wanting something to look nice to look at, and you don't care if it's, what the price is, if it's a cheap, like a pastel ball python or something, you just like to look at it, I think that's reasonable. I think, we want to be excited about something in our collection. Of course, I prefer wild types over morphs, but I also want to get the best looking example of a wild type I can. So I guess I'm not completely free of guilt in that regard. Nobody's wanting to pick just the run of the mill wild type.
Yeah, but you're pigeonholing wild type animals into this, like, oh, the jungles are all brown and ugly and shit. There's plenty of wild type stuff that comes out that's just absolutely slamming, and so you can divvy this up and say that, oh, the morph pyramid scheme is separate from the morph, having morphs, and the morph pyramid scheme is just the human end result of the perversion of wanting something that is, weird or like, somehow I don't know, better than I don't even know. Can't even use the word better, because it's not better. It's not. Yeah. It's just
different.
I don't get it. Yeah. But to me, like, the money that comes out of morphs is like that's like the last roadblock before the car goes off the cliff, kind of a thing. Well, you know what I mean? But you're still in a dirt road with a flat tire running towards the edge of the cliff when you're talking about morphs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get our fascination with saying, oh, this animal that has genetic defects, genetic mutations, which oftentimes are not good. They have other issues. Sure. When you have perfectly good, healthy wild type animals that can be fantastic. Yeah, some of them aren't great, but you know what, man? Like, it goes back to the shit that really grinds my cloaca, and it's like people want to focus on, I don't care about this. I don't care about mutts or integrades, because they're not worth anything. And that's the same kind of thing, where it's like you're not appreciating that animal that's in front of you because you're concerned with the name, you're concerned with the lineage, the so you're taking the preference. Yeah, you're taking some type of artificial preference over the animal that's in front of you. And it's the same issue as taking the wild type versus the morph. You're taking this perceived preference, that's been artificially constructed and repackaged in different species over and over and over again. And for some reason, that's what's the valuable, and if there was ever a worse mental construct for valuing nature and the animals that we have, that us people who like to herp and go out and like go to Australia and go and see these things, if we could pick any worse of a construct to take these animals that we take out because they're mutated and they don't look like any, they look like animals that get picked off and aren't found in nature, like it just, it detracts away from the things ecologically that should be important to us, and both of you really have a passion for the snakes that you purport to love. Well, why does the morph have to be why is the morph the driver of the bus, and all of the wild type animals are in the back getting beat to sit down? I don't get it. I don't that doesn't like, I don't understand why that is. And the only thing that I can think is it's because the car is going over the cliff because money's involved, and somebody has kind of like taken what happened with ball pythons. Oh my God, we can make so much money in this, and you can get all these weird things, and people freak out, and like, you can make all these combos, and everyone's a mad scientist, and you can plug it in, and it just totally takes away from what is great about the snakes that we all care about, their behaviors, their habitat, their natural variation, like and for freaking Pete's sake, there's different there's different color phases and different types of naturally occurring genetics that are happening. You don't have to take the extreme form of albinism or leucism or melanism that comes out. And I just like those things are fine, but I just think it's an error in thinking.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be all one or the other way. I think you can still have an appreciation or excitement for a novel look in a morph, and at the same time appreciate the wild type. I mean, you invoke the name of the Podfather, and I think he's a great example, right? That he was really into morphs and really buying all these different morphs, and he still has quite a few morphs, but he's also now gained a greater appreciation for the wild types, and I think one of his points was really well taken. That morphs are kind of like they're the show, right? So if you have like a flashy morph, you can keep it in a barren cage and just have like the morphs, that makes the visual appearance, and everybody gets excited about that. But if you have a wild type, you want to set it up in a naturalistic cage to show kind of how it blends into its natural environment, or that it looks really cool on the rocks or on the branches or whatever, So I think you can develop and maintain an appreciation for both. I don't think there's any real problem with that. Now, we might differ in opinion, and some people are really excited about albino morphs, and there's a couple that might look okay, but for the most part they don't look anything near as great as the wild type with the contrast. I like black and yellow, or black and different color shades of red or something, some kind of contrast, rather than just a unicolor or near unicolor snake, So, I mean, the albino carpets look kind of cool. They get kind of that orangey and kind of more contrasty orange or yellow on white, which, is a pretty cool look. But, I definitely would rather have a wild type than an albino. But if you can have both, why not? It's just kind of adds another layer to it.
Firstly, all hail the Podfather, but I think that I get it. I mean, I've got a pair of albino variegata. They're cool. Like I don't. My issue is not with a morph in particular or whatever. My issue is with morphs, the morphs at large, and how we allow a group of snakes to obscure our perspective. Mm-hmm. And I think the Podfather was a good example of somebody who, he was all about the bright yellow Ferrari, and now he's like, you know what, man, I'm cool with classic muscle cars, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I can still look at a Ferrari and be like, that's nice, but I think, I have an appreciation for the history and, the place where American muscle was born, right? Like, so, I think that this is one of an idea of kind of the hearts and minds of reptile people, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that the morphs are kind of like the short-term gain versus kind of the long-term, you know, kind of way to view things. And I think most people who come in, they look at they are captivated by the short-term gain, but they stay for the long-term love, right? And I guess, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of have to like get in it to realize that, but at the same time, it's like most people who are in it long enough are like, yeah, why was I so enthralled when there's so much other, you know, stuff, or like even going out herping and finding stuff in the wild, like you know what I mean? Like there's kind of there's an evolution to it, but at the same time, like I guess my thing is is the way we view that in that evolution, is it necessary? Like you know, is it the value system that we place on morphs, and so eventually people appreciate the wild type animal, right? But they have this evolution to get there, and if we didn't appreciate morphs like we do, would there be that evolution, or would people, it's kind of like, you know, doing soul searching until you find your bliss. And what if you could find your bliss so much faster, without, you know, having to sort through all of the, and I don't know, man, you know, maybe that's one-sided old man, get off my lawn, I'll hit you with my shoe, Chuck talking. And you know, maybe some people's bliss is morphs. I don't know, but I see more people, you know, get into morphs than get out of morphs, and I see people get into morphs and stay into morphs for the long term. You know, I've seen the evolution of the keeper long enough to, you know, to know that the morph thing isn't the lasting thing that, you know, anchors people into this.
I think, you know, the fact that evolution does occur quite a bit, where people get all excited about morphs and then they kind of get out of them and move towards the wild types and herping and things like that. I think that's pretty common, and that speaks to kind of, I mean, it is kind of tiring to be chasing in the morph game, you know, because if you don't get the
or investing all this money and then never being able to wait, what? It's only worth this much now, like, but I put all this money in, like, you're chasing this stupid. It's like you're like, oh, I'm done with this escalator.
And it's kind of like a flash in the pan, you know. It kind of comes and goes pretty quick. You have to, and you know, it depends on the species and the morph that you're dealing with. Some stay viable for a very long time, like a piebald or something like that. Piebald ball.
Or you find out some of them have issues that, you know, and
you're like, money into it, and then they're gonna kind of
it never breeds for you, or it sucks, or
some weird quirk to it.
There's just so many aspects to it where it's just, you know, to me it's just like such a detractor in so many different ways, that I just kind of am like, ugh. And you know, especially in carpet pythons, like, I'm just like, why do we continue to hang on to morphs? And, you know, why is it so, like, you know, and I think, you know, man, I mean, I think you and Nick have done a good job in the book, and slowly kind of, you know, slowly but surely, I think between NPR and the more complete carpet python, like that kind of mantra of morphs kind of turning the corner, and just the amazing diversity, and, you know, the different looks you can get out of carpets, and that you know, it's not just captive bred carpets where you're like, what is this? Oh, I don't know, because you could go to a wild type, and if you didn't know what it was or where it was found, you would have a hard time identifying it, because it doesn't fit into what your mental, you know, thing of like, oh, that's what a jungle is, or that's what a coastal is, or that's what a, you know, a variegata is. Like, you know, I think that there's enough diversity in there and enough coolness to keep everybody occupied, where, you know, But I don't know. I mean,
yeah, and I think too, if the value is taken away, and that's kind of what eventually happens with morphs, at least the base morphs. You might have more value on a multi-gene animal, but if the value goes away, are you still keeping it? Do you still want to look at that and enjoy its beauty or whatever, and keep it regardless of the price affixed to it? And I think that's kind of, if you can appreciate a morph for what it's worth, but also appreciate, where it came from and the wild types and things like that, I don't see any harm in the morphs. If you're not necessarily like in it just to make a quick buck, or you bought into the whole pyramid scheme, which I think a lot of us kind of got caught up in the excitement of producing new morphs or seeing the latest greatest craze or that kind of thing, and thinking, but I do think the idea of mixing different combinations and getting patterns and colors that nobody's seen before in a carpet or in a ball python or whatever, it's another level or a different level of enjoyment that I'm not going to fault anybody for.
Let me ask you this though: if you just take the monetary part of it out, right, where you're like, okay, multi-gene animals will hold their value longer because they have more genes. There's been more work that's been put into them to get them to there. It's like all that. To put all that part aside, if you just take something new, something that's new, I'm all excited if this new thing is out. Once the newness wears off, how long? I mean, even if it's a multi-gene animal, maybe its value stays higher, but are people as excited about it? So the excitement that I always hear in stuff is always in this new, Brian Kabilka's everything he's doing, because it's all new. Justin Kabilka. I was like looking at
names
you.
I can remember.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So like a lot of his stuff is new and it's crazy looking, and so it's like right on everybody's, the tip of everybody's mind. But there's stuff that's like, what was last year's or 2 years ago's combos? Who, are they still, maybe some of them not. Like, I guess the point I'm making is it's like the newness that people are chasing, the rareness, there's only 5 of these, or, this is the first time this has ever been produced. And once that shit wears off, people are like, meh, yeah, I don't know. How much is it worth? I would buy into it, but not for that much. I'd wait till it gets to this. So it's really about the rarity of it, and like the mystique and the newness of it. And once that shit wears off, I think people are apathetic to it.
That's the same thing with anything. I mean, that's the same thing with wild types. If you've got some Boland's python, and then all of a sudden they start importing Boland's by the thousands, and they're worth $200. Are you going to be that excited about your Boland's pythons when everybody can? I don't know though, man. I think a lot of people buy things for the wrong reasons, and I don't know that we're necessarily talking about buying morphs for the wrong reasons, because you can appreciate a morph whether it's worth something or not. But if and that's why I say, with that caveat, if you're chasing the game, if you're just trying to make money and you're getting the latest greatest morphs that people are interested in so you can make a quick buck, then maybe you're a businessman and that's what you're into it for, is the business side or making money off of snakes. For me, that's not my cup of tea, but there are some morphs like a piebald or something that I wouldn't mind keeping, or a pastel sugar ball python that I don't really care how much it's worth. I just like looking at them, and they look nice, when they're older and stuff. So it's worth having them around. And I think there are some carpet morphs like that. I mean, like I said, I can appreciate an albino Darwin or a zebra jungle, or something like that for their looks, and I've got some, and I enjoy looking at them, but I don't think it's because they're worth anything, because right now they're not really worth more than a wild type. An albino or a zebra are basically the same cost, maybe $50 more than the wild type, or whatever we call a wild type as far as jungles go. So I think it's just the motivation, and I think people mature and they grow out of, they realize, okay, I'm not going to be the next big breeder. I'm not going to have the the miles of aisles like Brian Barczyk or something.
But don't you feel
really like and enjoy, and I'm not going to worry about the value or perceived value of the animal.
But don't you feel like now that zebras are, roughly the same price as normal jungles, that maybe they're where they should be, and people now they'll like them. People will spend the extra, couple $100 or $100 or whatever to get the zebra because that's what they like, and it's but when you have this gross disparity between the zebra morph and the jungle, that's where the issue is, because people are focused on the wrong part of the thing. It's the thing because it's worth a lot, not the thing because it's cool. Yeah. And my whole thing is like, if we didn't have this pyramid scheme, I would have a lot less of an issue with morphs, I guess, because there would be less of a reason for people to pervert the value of a morph, because you couldn't attach anything other than your own personal like to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's fair to say. And really, I mean, that's what we should be asking ourselves. And I mean, you could get a new project and be all excited about it because it's new for you, and realize really quick that this is not a project that you're excited, or that's going to be a long-term project for you. And I mean, I think we all go through that. We've all had projects where we're thinking, oh, this is a cool animal. And then you get it and you're like, no, it kind of craps on me all the time, and it's really defensive, and I don't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, and it always hides. I never see it, so there's lots of reasons for getting out of a morph or a project in general. I think there's a lot of ties that way. So as long as you're responsible about it and you're not just dumping animals or freezing them off when they get, when their value drops or something, that's a little sketchy. And I think if anybody's in the morph game, they know how to play it by now. They're not buying the low end morphs that nobody wants, and they kind of know what combinations people are excited about. And so, it's like that never ending quest. It's like playing Pokemon. You can get the latest morph and keep up on the new combos and stuff like that. And that's fine for some people. Not fine for Chuck, not necessarily fine for me either. It's like, but it's, I think it can, I think,
but I don't think it's fine for Cam either, because he is trying to show animals at the zoo that people need to appreciate because they have, for the conservation value, for just the fact that we live in concrete jungles and people don't interface and appreciate nature, and they don't care about it because it doesn't touch their life. And here he is trying to show that, and people are like, oh well, this isn't fucking scaleless. I don't like it. Like what? Weird.
Yeah, but I would say I would say people like that are probably not going to get extensive collections or I mean, and if that's what they appreciate, okay, good for them. As long as it's for the right reason, as long as they appreciate that animal and understand it's not just a piece of art and they need to keep it properly and things. I think that's when it goes towards your side, is when they start neglecting the animals. If they don't care to look at something, I mean, that's one person. I mean, there's a lot of idiots out there. Like,
well, yeah, but I mean,
so one person
I think in this example,
wild bird of dragon.
No, I get it, but in this example, this was a person, whatever the reason but essentially at the core it was, this animal is not flashy enough. I'm used to seeing flashy animals. I only care about the flashy animals, when really it should be the less flashy animals do the same cool shit as the flashy animals do, and
yeah.
I think you're losing some appreciation, which I think was maybe some part of Cam's whole point is, here I am spending my time trying to get people interested in the things these animals do and the cool behaviors and the natural history of them. And I can't, because these dingleberries are only focused on the fact that the thing's not bright orange or, doesn't have all of its,
Well, I would say that's probably 75% of the people that go through the reptile house couldn't give a crap unless they're like fighting or eating something or, entertain me. That attitude is very rampant. And people that really have a genuine interest in reptiles, that's going to happen whether or not they're morphs, whether or not they're, ugly or whatever, they're going to appreciate them for what they are. And if they have a mutation, that makes them look a little more flashy, great. But if they don't, oh well, that's fine too. I think it just, there's lots of people and there's lots of attitudes, and those kind of things can change too. Maybe that person down the road is driving, out in the outback and they see a wild bearded dragon. They're like, oh, that is actually pretty cool. Like I didn't see it at first because it was camouflaged, and then it got all, feisty, and it's put out its beard, and its beard turned bright, dark black, and it looks really cool, So there's a lot of reasons why people appreciate things. And, I trying to think, like, I think the morph game is really appealing from the excitement, and almost like like you're a day trader or something. You're trying to,
it's the instant gratification.
Yeah. It's kind of that game.
It's like the social media fix.
Yeah. What am I going to produce?
Yeah.
And I think, as you kind of get over that excitement or realize that it's just a lot of fluff, you're like, okay. But I mean, to some people, that's their whole livelihood. That's what they're, and they, they still enjoy it and still appreciate the animals and still take good care of them, like Justin Kabilka. And that's okay too. I mean, it is hard to maintain that year in and year out. I'm sure, like that's got to be a challenge to produce the latest and greatest. But I don't know. I don't have it in me, but I don't fault Kabilka for doing that kind of thing. And I mean, there's been a lot of morph carpets, but it hasn't done the same thing as the ball pythons. People aren't diving into carpets just for the morphs. And so I think, and I think people are realizing that, and the morphs are a little more reasonably priced. Maybe I mean the hypo is still pretty pricey, but I don't know. It's a very complex thing, and I don't think there's like one solid answer, like morph's good, morph's bad, that kind of thing. So we need to see the nuance and appreciate, the good points of them, as well as be aware of the negative.
I just don't think any species that doesn't have a morph is worse off for it.
Yeah, I mean, Can we agree
there?
And I will admit, is if somebody comes up to the table and goes, "Well, what morph is that?" I just want to smack them and go, "It doesn't." There's no morph. It's just this is what they look like.
Sorry, dude. You just gotta appreciate nature.
Yeah, I just need to make something up. Like, oh, this is the cherry rosehead morph. Like. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't want to be the guy who started the cherry rosehead morph. Yeah. Oh my God.
But and I mean, for my own breeding projects, I'll like my wheat belt Stimsons. Like I produced a clutch this year that I bred a couple holdbacks together that had a little more striping than usual. And I'm excited about the babies that have all this cool striping on them. Like I get geeked out by that. So. Am I a bad person? I don't think so.
But that's not morph. But that's not morphine. That's not morphine.
Sure it is. It's a deviation from normal, what they typically look like. You know what I mean? Like
but that's like I mean.
Technically, that would be a morph.
Now you're starting into the ticky tacky of this whole thing.
But I mean. I would say the jungles that we have
is striping a normal thing that happens in nature.
Yeah, yes, but so is albinism. Is axanthism.
Yes, but do you see albinistic populations of snakes?
Certain places.
So the answer is no. The answer is no.
There's a population of albino squirrels in Washington D.C. Park. Like I saw those running around. There's also some melanistics running around.
That's just because
it's interesting. I don't know why they are localized there. I haven't seen populations in other places. Maybe they're protected from predators because there's so many people walking around. But
so there's.
I don't know if like the moth thing where all the trees are black, and so all the moths start turning from silver to black, as an adaptation to survive. What if an albino all of a sudden has an adaptive advantage? Are you going to poo-poo it then, or is it only worth something if it has a selective advantage in nature?
I'm not gonna poo-poo it unless a whole fucking bunch of them turn albino and start just taking over, because they become the dominant phenotype, because that's what works.
There are some populations of toads that have albinism quite commonly seen in nature, so it depends on the species, but you're right. I mean, normally that would be picked off pretty quick, but
thank you. That's all I wanted, was an acknowledgement of the facts.
Well, Blondie was found, that original albino Darwin, I think that was found as an adult, wasn't it? Or was it younger?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know that. I was going to say Blondie's still touring too, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
I was thinking, never mind. Never mind.
The singer, not the...
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
You went with it well. That was good. That was good.
Good stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. I get what you're saying. I don't hate morphs. I don't think they're like the worst thing that ever happened, but I just think that if we're gonna sit here and acknowledge the role that they play, we have to be honest with the damage that they do perception wise. And it's easy to be like, well, fucking who cares? Who cares what damage morphs do? We're destroying the planet. Yep, true, totally true. But it doesn't make the fact that we idolize morphs. It doesn't make it any better or worse, right? Like it's just I think that it matters. It's not going to go away. Morphs it's just how fucking people are wired. They want the unique thing. Mm-hmm. They want the weird thing. They don't want, that doesn't look like anything in nature. Oh, I want that. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy looking. I want that. Oh, fuck, that falls off the perch whenever it tries to move. I love that. Yeah. Fucking does loop-de-loops. That's awesome.
All right. Well, it does look nice though. So, I mean, did you not have?
If you like, derpy herbs,
did you not have a jaguar?
I did. I had a couple of jaguars until I got one that.
Purge, you know what I mean?
Oh my god! I had one that was
bad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I got one. It came in. Nick. So it was when I got my inlands and I got a bunch of stuff, and Nick was like, "Hey, I have this jag. It's pretty neuro." He's like, "If you want it, I'll totally send it to you." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, cool." And then I got to see it, and I was like, "Oh, this is really fucking sad, dude."
Yeah. I remember seeing.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That was
one of Sean Christian's that was like the father of a lot of the jags in the country, and it was falling off the. You'd hear a big thud, and like, what was that? Yeah. Oh, that's just what's his name falling off the perch. Like, yeah. Oh man, that's sad. Yeah, but he ate fine and he bred fine, and all that kind of stuff. So
it's just, but it just goes. It goes to an ethical. To me, it's like there's an ethical piece to that, and it's kind of like I don't. You can like jags.
If your ethics are going out the window as a morph breeder, that's probably a sign you're not doing it right.
I'm like it's kind of like I have no problem with morphs, but when it's like you kind of have to like be like, yeah, it's totally twacked out, and it falls off and does all this stuff that. The average person would be like appalled to see, like, oh my god, that thing's suffering. Well, how do you know that? If you have to have that argument, like, well, you don't know how that animal's feeling because it's got issues, then like maybe you're crossing into a line where it's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
when you know.
Yeah,
because you kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, sorry.
Or you never know.
Trying to smack a fly.
I know. I know that thing has been besting you for hours. Everyone in this fight has just heard like random.
I just hit him direct on, and he just crawled away, like flew away, like what?
He just grabbed your finger and was like, "Not today, Zoolander!" Pushed you off and flew off.
Exactly. He's like the morph of the flies.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Well,
he's got Arnold Schwarzenegger's head on him. Oh, not today, Zoolander.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I guess in closing, I would say, just keep it. Oh, I got him. Just keep in mind. He landed on my head.
After all that, oh my god, that was hilarious.
Just
I wish you all could see what I saw.
Keep
anyway, yes, continue. Go. Yes, you were saying.
Compose myself.
Yes, please do.
Keep in mind, kind of where morphs fit in, and appreciate the animals for what they are, and just because they're a morph doesn't mean they are something very different or special or better than the wild types. They might have a bigger price tag affixed to them, but that will likely fall and fairly quickly. So keep that in mind if you're looking into buying morphs and things like that. But I don't know, enjoy them. I mean, we talked about this with hybrids or hybrids less than or and I think you can appreciate a snake regardless of its genotype or phenotype or species or cross thereof, and bottom line is most of the stuff we keep in captivity is never going to be a candidate for repopulation in the wild. So as long as you enjoy it and you care about it and you'll pay attention to it for the life of the animal, I think that's fine. I mean, get what you're excited about and what you're excited about over the long term. If you stop being excited about it, find it a better home. Find somebody that will be excited about it. If that means losing your investment in huge air quotes, that's okay too. The main thing is that we focus on the quality of life of the animal, not on the value of the animal or the rarity of the animal, because, when it all comes down to it, if the economy tanks, they're all going to be worth the same amount anyway. They're going to be a snake in a box that you got to feed, and so, just keep that in mind. I think as long as you have a healthy perspective on what a morph is, then, more power to you. What say ye? Any closing? You already made your closing statement. You're ranting. You're angry ranting.
It's fine. It's, come on. God.
I guess I gave you the right side, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You allowed my inner angered Chuck to come out. And
hey, that's what the people want to see is
lava spewing down the angry mountain.
You're like,
damn you morphs, damn you.
What's his name? Lewis Black. You're the Lewis Black of the
Lewis Black of carpet python morphs. Yeah. I think that's an apt description. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I just do what makes you happy, do what you love. If a morphous blows your skirt up, then blow your skirt up. That's cool. But I mean, the things that are important, the snakes that we like, they yeah, you tell them, Ruby. They have habitat, they have a place that they're from. There's ecology, there's husbandry and natural history, and all of these other important aspects to keeping the snakes and reptiles that we love. And I think that more than anything should be the forefront of people's attention and focus. And if a morph is taking away from that rather than informing it, then it's not a healthy situation.
Yeah.
And people people are free to do whatever they want, and if it blows your skirt up, like I said, go for it. But don't make blind, unconscious decisions. Think about the deeper, reason why we like and why we find these things important. And if all you care about is flashy snakes, and that's what then do that, I guess. I don't know. But you'll probably get a shoe thrown at you when you get on my lawn. That's all.
Well said. Well put. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Admittedly, I'm flipping through the morph section,
the carpet book right now. Yeah, see,
and nothing's screaming to me get back into morphs. Like I look at them and I'm like, I can appreciate that. Looks cool, or that looks nice, but nothing that I can't do without. So I think I'm past my point of morph excitement, and I just kind of want to work with the wild type or the.
I mean, that Flinders, that
nice looking animal.
That Flinders on the cover makes me like, oh my god, that's insane!
Yeah, you can't improve
every
on that.
time I look at it. Every single time I look at it, and it's.
I get the same way when I see Brettles as well. I love looking at the Brettles, or a nice coastal. All the guys over in Australia are posting all these pictures of their coastal carpets they found, and all the different things they're finding. I'm like, those look phenomenal. That looks really cool. Yep. And most people would go, it's just a coastal. It's like, you're missing it. You're missing the boat, So,
but that's an in situ coastal. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And I'm going to have to sit on the porch with you and throw shoes as well, because I do like the wild type.
I will keep all my old shoes. We will have a fucking pile, and we can just tag people going by. It'll be awesome.
There you go. All right. Well, hopefully this is kind of what you had in mind, Cam. You can correct us if we missed the boat, or And I don't know. I say let that girl have her little opinions and be afraid of the spiky bearded dragon. She probably won't last long in this hobby, and good riddance if she decides to leave. But hopefully she changes and she realizes the value of the wild types and can appreciate the animals for what they are, and not just for their paint jobs or their reduction in scales or whatever the crap she cares about in her little bearded dragon. Or maybe she's just attached to her pet and she thinks everything should look like her pet. I don't know. I guess some things.
Take off your shoe and hit her upside the head.
Just have a shoe ready. Have a shoe ready. Yeah.
A shoe at the ready.
I don't know if you'll keep your job, but hey, it'll be fun just whomping them over the head.
It might be a bad short-term strategy, but I'm just giving you options.
Okay. Please do not hold us financially responsible if you decide to throw a shoe at said person. All right. Well, thanks to the folks at NPR. Eric, you're the man. Owen, you're also a man.
A married man.
Congratulations, Owen. I guess it's been a month or two now.
Yeah.
So it's old hat for him now. He's a pro now.
He should be well on his way to Little Mac and Wookiees.
Oh man,
Papa.
That's good. Yep. That's good. All right, well, check out Morelia Python Radio Network and all their great podcasts. They've had some good stuff. It's been a little slow since they went on vacation, but I think things should pick up a little bit, once Eric gets back. And I'm trying to think what I've listened to recently. Oh, I got into Phil and oh my gosh, my
Nipper.
No, Phil and Nipper haven't put out something. I did listen to one of theirs recently, or maybe that. No, it was when.
Oh, Phil Leitz. Phil Leitz.
Yep.
And
I'm terrible.
Oh, he's got a wild name.
It'll come to me. Give me a second.
Yeah.
But their podcast on the Animals at Home Network, Roy. Yeah. Roy.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool guys. So I got to be on their show, and so that should be out at some point. So listen for that. But yeah, I was trying to figure out where their show was, and finally I realized, because every time I'd search for it, Animals at Home Network would come up, and then I'm like, oh, it's because they're on that network, and every third week it's their show. So, yeah, I listened to their episode with Phil.
Maybe that's why people can't find us.
Maybe so. I listened to their episode with Phil Tremper, and I really enjoyed that discussion. Phil does a lot of good stuff with some cool geckos and things, so really interesting. And then they also talked to our old buddy Ralph. Not Ralph. Gosh dang it. What is wrong with me? Anyway,
oh my God, that was so good.
Freaking heck. I'm too tired. I need to go to bed, I guess. But anyway, check out their podcast. I meant to say Ron. Ron St. Pierre.
Ron St. Pierre.
Of course, yeah. Okay.
How dare you? Ron is so offended right now if he's listening.
Oh, my God.
And if he is listening, God forgive us.
There you go. Well, what'd you call Justin Kabilka? Dave?
I'm pretty sure
Dave Kabilka.
Yeah.
No, it's Brian. Yeah, I bet he appreciates that one, too. Oh, boy.
I don't think he listens.
We're on one today, I guess.
We are on
but
one
yeah,
today. That's fair.
The Phil and Roy do a great job, and I would recommend the Animals at Home Network, and their podcast is Herpetoculture, Project Herpetoculture. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Project Herpetoculture. Cool stuff. I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. Check it out. Listen to Morelia Python's Radio Network. And check out their social media and such. And you can find me at australianaddiction.com. You can see the info for ordering books. If you want to order a book, let me know. We still have a few copies of the more complete Carpet Python out freshly within the last couple weeks. And it's pretty good, if I can say so myself.
You cannot say it yourself.
I cannot say anything myself, apparently.
No.
Okay, with that, let's get the crap out. Oh, wait, you better say where you're from. I don't know. Do you want to?
Oh, where am I from?
Where are you from? Indiana?
Yeah, Indianapolis, Indiana. The Hoosier State.
There you go.
Home of the Indianapolis 500, the Indiana Pacers, and the Indianapolis Colts.
Look for Chuck in Indiana.
Who are struggling. No, don't find. You will not find me in Indiana. You will not.
Where will they find you?
Sadly, no. You can find me on Instagram at Chuck Norris Wins and on Facebook at Chuck Poland. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's been another episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Stay the fuck off my lawn.